This episode is brought to you by the Park People. The Park People is a nonprofit working with communities to plant trees and improve parks for a healthy, resilient Denver. Home to the Denver Digs Trees program, the Park People has planted over 70,000 trees throughout Denver. Their Earth Day tree sale offers beautiful and practical shade, fruit, and flowering trees at 60% discounted wholesale prices. The sale takes place on April 19th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Park People's offices at 450 Decatur Street in the Valverde neighborhood. Learn more about the tree species offered as well as the benefits of planting trees this Earth Day at theparkpeople.org. This episode is brought to you by TaskRabbit. Denverites know how to work hard and play hard, but you don't have to do it all yourself. TaskRabbit has been helping Mile High City residents for over a decade with everything from furniture assembly to minor home repairs. Don't let that to-do list ruin your weekend. Use the TaskRabbit app to describe what you need and find a skilled tasker in your neighborhood who can take it off your plate. And TaskRabbit offers transparent pricing. You'll see the hourly rate up front, which includes the tasker's rate and the service fee. So there's no surprises at checkout. Download the TaskRabbit app or visit taskrabbit.com today to get those home to-dos crossed off. Welcome to CityCast Denver. I'm Bree Davies, and here's what Denver's talking about. Today we're discussing Jeffco's new program offering sliding scale vasectomies, the roller coaster of a week ending in the closure for the Pearl, and of course our wins and fails of the week. Green Chili correspondent Justine Sandoval, hello.
Hello.
And I get to have two of our fave regulars today. So we have our regular politics contributor, Adrian Felix.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm so glad to have you both together.
Yes.
I don't know if this has ever happened.
Yeah,
Once before.
Yeah.
Okay.
We did.
Yes,
One other
once
time?
before.
Okay.
Mhm.
It's a special day. We got some good stuff to talk about. A lesbian bar and vasectomies.
Mhm.
Who do we call? You two. Okay, we've got a little bit of business to take care of before we move on. If you've somehow missed it, we're in the midst of our spring membership campaign, which first of all, our cool thing you get this year is a CityCast Denver green pennant to hang on your wall.
Oh.
It's very beautiful. I don't have one to show you, unfortunately, but you can go to our Instagram and take a look at it if you want to see. But that is just one of the bonuses, one of the perks you get when you join our membership program. Just $10 a month, $100 a year, and you help keep the lights on here at CityCast Denver. We have been doing this for over 5 years, and we wouldn't still be doing it if we didn't have folks that were so interested in Denver and interested enough to go on this journey with us around what is Denver doing. You guys know we love this city.
Yeah.
We're also highly critical of this city. We have a lot of thoughts and feelings about it. I think you two are some of our greatest guests for just showing that, like, you both have a lot of passion for Denver.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Lots of passion.
Lots of passion. And so just a reminder, when you do sign up, you get an ad-free podcast feed. You get invites to members-only events, which sometimes means hanging out with all of us. I think we're going to work on that in the near future if you want to meet up with us and meet our wonderful contributors. And then we've launched this new thing recently that's, I think, my favorite thing that we're offering as a bonus, which is a special segment once a week where we offer bonus content just to listeners. And sometimes we're talking about the news of the day, something that just didn't fit in the show, but sometimes it's something a little bit more personal, a little bit more gossipy. And Justine, you came to mind when we launched this because off mic, half the time we get some wild story about Denver that doesn't fit into the show, but I know our listeners would enjoy as much as we do listening to you regale us with some hilarious moment or just some moment of kismet in Denver. And so if you want to hear some more straight up Justine stories, join the membership now. Again, membership.citycast.fm. It's, again, $10 a month. I mean, that's what, 2 coffees?
Right.
That's maybe 2 coffees. It's maybe 1.5 coffees.
Well, but beyond that, like for 2 coffees, you get like such a great community because that's what CityCast I feel has given to me in my life, as I feel like very connected to Denver, probably more than I ever have. Like the number of times I've gotten messages of people like, loved your CityCast episode, who I've never met in my life, but it makes me feel like I'm a part of the community. So, I mean, come on, $10 a month.
You
Yeah.
totally are.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that personal testimonial.
Yeah, of
No,
course.
it is so true. I run into people in the wild who are like, hey, I love CityCast. And I had someone recently come up to me and said that they moved to Denver a few years ago. And CityCast has been like their lifeline. And it's made them feel like more involved in the Denver community. They feel like a true local, they said, from listening to CityCast,
sure.
listen to us. And I was like, yes, join the Cool Kids Club. Like, join the in crowd
It
of
is
what's
the in
really
crowd.
what's going on in Denver. The real story.
And again, this is part of the membership. You can get invited to members-only events. So it's just this tight-knit community that we're creating, but everyone is welcome. You just got to join the club.
There you go.
Justine, I have heard a couple people say they've heard your voice out in the wild and been like, where? I know this voice. Who? Oh my God, it's Justine. So
That happens to me ordering
I
at
believe
bars a lot. I'll
believe
go
it.
up and I'll start ordering and someone will turn. This actually, I swear to you, this happened last Saturday at Western Sky Brewing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Western Sky,
They do
amazing
great
brewery.
events. Yeah.
They're really great. And you can take your dog inside too. So,
of course.
but Western Sky, a gentleman there was like, "You're Justine Sandoval." Like, they recognize my voice.
Which I love that for us as a show. I love that for you guys. Again, it speaks to what you were talking about, Adrian. It's truly a community.
Yes.
So if you want to join us, membership.citycast.fm. And all right, let's talk about some drama.
Ooh.
Okay. We're talking about the Pearl, the lesbian bar, cafe, event space that has existed inside of the former Mercury Cafe for literally about a year. Like, I think they were just around the year mark when this happened. It all started on Instagram over last weekend. There was a post from the bar. They're closing. They're having financial troubles. It was pretty vague, but the response was nuts.
Yes.
People were like, oh my God, I love this space. I love what you do here. How can we help you? Can we help you? And a few hours later, a GoFundMe popped up.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Did you see any of this as it was unfolding?
Not as it was unfolding until like you guys sent the story, but continue, because like I have the thing is with this episode is like I feel like I have a lot of internal misogyny that I'm working through.
I'm glad we can be here for you.
Right. And so the story today, I was like, Adrian's about to be exposed, but I'm going to work on it. So
well, this is a space for calling in.
yes,
we're not calling you out. I'm learning a lot about this from my therapist.
Okay. Yes.
So yeah. Again, this GoFundMe pops up. Within I think less than 2 days, they raised over $83,000.
insane amount.
I don't know if I've
Insane.
ever seen this for a local, any local entity having this sort of traction. Part of it, we realized our producer Olivia Jewel Love was digging around and was like, "Oh, Them Magazine posted it. They have 1 million followers." Nini Coco, who's a finalist on RuPaul's Drag Race this week, posted it.
Mm-hmm.
So it got in front of a lot of people that maybe don't even live here.
Right.
But I think that's where the drama then really started.
Oh.
So as the money was being raised, I think it was around $50,000, they upped it. And there were a lot of comments. Where is this money going? How can we trust you? There's no transparency. We don't know how you got here in the first place financially. What's happening? And so one of the owners of the Pearl just added sort of a brief line at the top of the GoFundMe that just said, we'll be transparent. We'll share our receipts, what all this money is going to.
Right.
So it continued on. Well, then the owners started, the girlies were fighting. And one of them was like, I didn't know about this GoFundMe. I don't know what's going on here, but it's not cool. And the other owner, there's so much to keep track of here. I do want to recommend Westward's coverage of this because they really did a great, Kristen at Westward did a great play-by-play of this because literally this was changing every couple of hours.
Yes.
We need a whiteboard. Like, this started here. Like, I felt like we should have pulled that out here today. Like, here's the tea. Like, from beginning to end.
Yeah.
So all this is happening. There's this inner drama happening. And then the Pearl announces, actually, you know what? We're dissolving this LLC. Bye. We're out. Yeah. Danny Newman, who owns the building, was like, okay, everybody that has events here already scheduled, other regular nights, we're going to keep those going. Don't worry about it. Well, unbeknownst to Danny as well, Wednesday at 5 p.m., it was announced that the Pearl had been seized for unpaid taxes. So the city of Denver locked the doors. So there was no getting in. People that worked there couldn't get their stuff. Maybe some performers had been storing some of their stuff there. They couldn't get in. But this was all taxes related to the business,
Right.
not the building.
Understood.
So that's where we are right now. Oh, no, sorry. Other biggest development, the Pearl deleted their Instagram. So
No way.
Yes.
Wow.
What?
Yeah. So that's how hard the
Okay.
drama went.
Well, you know what? Okay, so this was my internal misogyny.
Okay, go
about
for
it. Was that lesbian bars are incredibly difficult to like keep open and sustain. I think
Okay.
there are like maybe 30 in the country.
It has been, there's been great documentation of sort of the dwindling of
Yeah.
this specific type of a bar within the queer community.
Right. And so I guess from like the very onset is like if the Mercury Cafe was not able to make it with like what they were doing, how does making that even more niche sustainable in the long run?
Well, I will say the Mercury was doing fine.
Okay.
Marilyn, who owned it originally, wanted to retire.
Oh, understood. Okay.
So Danny Newman bought the building.
Mhm.
He owns a lot of different things around Denver. He was one of the folks that wanted to originally try to save Casa Bonita. He owns part of the clock tower. And
My brother's bar.
And my brother's bar, yeah,
Okay.
where his mother worked for 30 years, which is like one of the sweet parts of the story. But Marilyn wanted to retire. Danny bought it. It was a very intense negotiation because Marilyn is a witch and she wanted someone who was going to take over the building and keep it as it was.
Okay.
And I think other developers may have been offering her more money, but Danny promised to buy it and continue it as best he could.
Understood.
That was tough
Yeah.
for him, I think. He's spoken about it. There's been a couple interviews. It's like COVID, or this was like post-COVID, so it was still a little bit of a struggle what people were really going out to do. He had an illness in the family. His wife was pregnant. There was a lot of other things going on, and he's kind of said I wasn't able to really attend to it the way it needed to be
and
attended
the
to.
building needed a lot of work when
It's
he
an old
took
building.
it over,
Okay.
and it's just been constant.
Yeah.
So I know that they were kind of like shocked when they walked in. They saw how much like needed to be updated and done too. Is one thing I'd heard from.
So I mean,
that
with
camp.
that
Yes.
added on the fact that a lesbian bar is very difficult to keep open.
Yeah, well, also, they were taking on 3 rooms that you can program as venues. A restaurant, a bar. The upper main room, the dance hall, is huge. It wasn't that there was a shortage of events, but this is a lot to manage.
Sure.
And again, the business, the running the actual business and pay. I have a feeling Marilyn had paid off the building, so I wonder if her costs were a little bit lower than theirs.
Yeah.
But again, Adrian, dig in a little bit more to your
Internal misogyny. Well, like, I think like my first thought was like, well, what do I do? But I'm not quite sure like a lesbian bar is like a space where I'm like wanted, right? Because I do believe lesbian bars should be for women because in my experience, bringing men to a lesbian bar is like can be a very negative thing. So I'm like,
So you maybe didn't weren't a customer necessarily because you weren't
exactly.
sure if you were
right.
It was cool
I mean,
for you
I
to be
do
there.
feel like some sort of obligation because it's LGBTQ, right? Like
Yeah.
that is my community at the end of the day. But it's like, where is my place in like helping them?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Justine, had you been to the Pearl?
I had not been to the Pearl, but
Okay.
I've heard a lot about it. A lot of our campaign staff is younger, and they that is a space where a lot of our Gen Z lesbians are hanging out. And
absolutely.
it was a space and there's been a lot of media coverage in the last few years on the lack of lesbian spaces in the
Yes.
nation.
Yeah,
So
of course.
that's why the reaction was so big when
Yeah.
this went nationally, this is an ongoing problem. So there was that donation to that. For me, it was important because I think it's important for people to have these spaces where they can just exist and be and have like your own space. So it was very important to me that the Pearl was like created
Yeah.
and existed, even though I was not, regular. I don't go out much anymore.
But with that said, I think that you and I both have experience at Blush and Blue.
Well, yeah, and that's
Oh,
because
Blush and
too.
Blue
I don't-
factors into this too.
Yes,
it does.
Well, and that's because I also don't want to go into a space where it's not necessarily my space and then take up
Right.
that
That's what I'm
space.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I went to like gay bars before, like X bar and stuff, and have been like told like by lesbians, like, why are you here? And I'm like, I'm sorry. My bad. I'm just a regular
It's a hard thing because,
hetero,
you
boring
know,
hetero.
I've heard from, again, a lot of younger folks, Justine, this was definitely their space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My friend Elle's been a photographer there for a ton of their events, and she said they were packed.
Yeah.
Every night they were packed. So there was a need.
Yeah.
There was a community that was really taking, and obviously based on the donations that came in, people really, really cared about this space. And it kind of gets to the messiness of a business representing a community, and what the community creates itself isn't necessarily reflective of what's behind the scenes of the business itself.
For sure.
Right? Like, and this doesn't just apply to lesbian bars. This applies to any space that
running
is
a business. In
running
Denver
a
right now,
business,
impossible.
but also running a space that is marketed effectively to a specific community. And again, there was no shortage of folks going to this space. It was busy all the time. I know recently they had closed the cafe portion of it, but at least the like nightlife aspect of it was doing really, really well. And I think that was part of the shock for people, was like, wait, why is it closing for financial reasons if I'm going there every week?
Right.
And they talked a little bit about like people drink less and, overhead is expensive, but like there were still folks paying tickets to come in the door.
Yeah, that's what, like, as someone who has worked in the bar industry for a long time, like liquor sales are everything, but the common conversation is that liquor sales are going down. But I think that this has been a conversation for a long time where we need to think like, okay, then how are we bringing in revenue if it's not liquor sales? What is that? And then that turns into a whole conversation of like taxes and budgeting and like
and whatever kind of deal they had with the landlord, with Danny, about, because there was a point where they did a GoFundMe for a water heater. Again, this is I think it's 100+ year old building. It has an ancient elevator in it, which actually is what makes it amazing because it's super accessible for being an old structure. I mean, you did have to like, I mean, you did have to like go through the kitchen to use it, but yeah, it was. Just thinking about all of the other costs probably associated, but I don't know, as things sort of devolved, it was clear that maybe there was some management issues with money, clearly based on how the owners were talking about each other.
I heard some backstory from the talk, the gossip on the streets.
Tell us.
Is that originally the GoFundMe idea is what the staff thought the money was going to be used for, is to pay them, because some of them hadn't been paid.
Oh.
Because they were bounce checks going on for a while.
Wow.
So the money issue had been ongoing. People weren't getting paid. And so there were staff that thought that the GoFundMe was happening to pay them through April through June to get them to like Pride Month. And then I think that there was some realization, because there's not conversation going on between owners and stuff, that some of the staff realized that there was a back tax issue and they thought that money was going to go towards that. So then they said, screw it.
Well,
it's all fraud.
Well, how much is
because
owed?
they're not being honest about that.
I'm glad you brought this up. The math is mathing, and there was a lot of Reddit and Instagram investigators hot on this part.
I bet.
Reddit was red hot.
So the $83,000 that was raised, again, a lot of folks were thinking this is going to support. There were even like contracted performers who hadn't been paid. Like, it wasn't just the regular staff. But according to Kristen at Westward's reporting, the document lists $53,869 owed for occupational privilege taxes, which is, I think that's a special tax that has to do with things happening inside the business. I don't know exactly. I'd love our tax experts to reach out, but it was not property related. And then the second was for $2,386. And I'm not sure what exactly that tax was. But again, this was a business related tax. So yeah, you put that together, that's like almost $56,000 of the $83,000 owed. This was not something folks knew until the business was physically seized.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like, that's where that money actually might have been going.
Yeah.
By then, the GoFundMe had been shut down. It had been, people were saying, reported as fraudulent. Actually,
No
I think one of the
way.
owners was like, report this as fraudulent. I had nothing to do with the GoFundMe appearing. So from the jump, there was a lot of lack of clarity around what this GoFundMe was for.
Yeah.
And so...
Yeah, I got reported as fraudulent.
Which is... I mean, if you want to talk about community infighting.
Holy.
And then there was this whole sub storyline about one of the owners belonging to an anti-LGBTQ church in Longmont. And they did a testimonial for that church. But then Westward again talked to the owner. I think it was Ashley Cassidy, who said, I joined the church because it was non-denominational. I just moved here from Texas. I didn't know. I have since stopped going to that church. I mean, that's a whole other thing. But I think aspects of this story just got highlighted more of the divisions when these sorts of things were coming to light.
Sure.
Again, some of it was alleged. There's a lot of alleged happening.
Allegations.
Yeah. Allegations in this conversation.
Yeah, there was a conversation too about how the lease worked because the owners are saying that and I looked into this. There's a special type of lease because they were saying that some of the costs were like the hot water heater and all the things that are replaced.
Coolers.
Well, doesn't the property owner do that if you're a renter? But there are special types of leases with certain businesses where you are responsible for essentially everything with the building while you're the leaseholder. Okay. So that was another factor for them. I think that was making it hard to run a business that was turning a profit.
Yeah, it sounds like
Justine has the tea, man.
Oh, yeah, I know.
That's why we have her here.
Yes, give it to us.
She knows what's up.
Yes.
So again, as of right now, it's closed. Again, Danny Newman was not aware of that aspect, so he came out and was like, so I just learned this as well. The building still exists.
Yeah.
The future of it, we don't know. But I wanted to end on, I did some research. This community, again, the sapphic lesbian community is still very much in Denver looking for things like spaces to be, but there's a lot of great pop-up events. There's 2 different groups, Misfits and Sapphic Collective, that host regular pop-up events across the city.
Good.
So if you're looking for that space, at least, temporarily, there's some really great groups that are putting on really cool events. There's other lesbian-run businesses. I'm thinking of Town Hall and Lady Justice. Rainbow Dome, Creepatorium. These are really queer spaces in a broader sense, but there's still very much a community there.
Yes.
And I don't want to overlook the fact that at the end of the day, this is who's being impacted most.
Right.
It's like this was a gathering place.
Yeah.
And I know somewhere else will spring up. I really hope. There has to be someone out there who's a good business owner that sees this is
the potential.
Yes, this is a potential community that is here, wants to not only be, paying customers, but there's performers. Mm-hmm. There's all kinds of things that were happening in this space that still need a home. So I'll put a link to a couple of those in the show notes. And really quick, I want to reach out to our listeners. What do you want to see happen with this space that housed the Pearl and, of course, the Mercury Cafe? Because, again, this building itself is very special. But I would love to know what folks are thinking. We got a really nice write-in from a listener who said, "Hey, CityCast, here's my dream for the Pearl. A coffee shop / lunch spot open 5 days a week that can be rented out at night. Twice a month, have a sapphic dance night. Ideally, someone like Rose from Awakening could run it. She has experience with a successful business, is queer, and has the community experience. And so I love this idea. But if you have other ideas, let us know. 720-500-5418. Give us a call, shoot us a text. And what do you see for the future of this space? We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're switching gears and talking about sexual reproductive health. This episode is brought to you by Denver Health. At Denver Health, emergency surgical care is built for moments when every second counts. Denver Health is the first hospital in the Rocky Mountain region to earn the Emergency General Surgery verification from the American College of Surgeons, a distinction held by only a small number of hospitals nationwide. It reflects their ability to respond quickly, coordinate across teams, and deliver high-quality care in urgent, life-threatening situations. At Denver Health, expert teams are ready to act, delivering the right care at the right time when it matters most. Learn more at denverhealth.org/experts. That's denverhealth.org/experts. This episode is brought to you by the Denver Department of Transportation and Infrastructure. Hey Denver, did you know a banana peel in the landfill produces a greenhouse gas that is 80 times more potent than one being composted? This Earth Month, go green by signing up for compost service with Denver Solid Waste. If you already use the city's trash collection services, you can sign up for weekly compost collection at no extra cost. Composting yard waste, food scraps, and other organic material is great for the environment. It reduces greenhouse gas pollution and helps create healthier soils without any synthetic pesticides or fertilizers. Learn what goes into your green cart and sign up today by calling 311. Already composting? Learn where to take tricky materials like e-waste with their waste directory, or help your neighbors learn how to recycle and compost correctly with resources on their CartSmart page at denvergov.org/CartSmart. That's denvergov.org/CartSmart. Okay, we're back. This really cool story popped up from Kyle Harris at Denverite this week. The Jefferson County Public Health is now offering in-house vasectomies at sliding scale every Friday. They can see up to 10 patients each Friday. And Kyle reports that patients can expect to pay around $800. And money from these vasectomies will actually help cover other services at Jeffco's sexual health clinic, including screening and treatment for sexually transmitted infections, family planning, contraception, and more. Justine, you were the first person I wanted to ask about this because you worked in reproductive justice for so long. What did you think about this?
I mean, I think this is great. Working in repro health, justice, access for 10 years plus, I have really seen that a lot of the responsibility for birth control, all of it is on women unless, men have a condom, which is also cheap, affordable birth control, men. Don't forget about that. But this actually gives an opportunity for, men who know that they don't want to have kids or maybe already have multiple kids to take some control.
Yeah.
So, I think this is great. It's funny because we're actually, my little cousin, the whole family, we were raising money to get him a vasectomy because I love all our hitos and hitas, but I think he's reached his limit. So, we were literally just talking at Easter, we got to raise money for him to get a vasectomy. So I saw this, funny. I was like, perfect. So.
I appreciate the focus on men as a woman who's, been hammered into my head.
Yeah. He's the source.
My parents
again, like I said, Adrian is getting exposed this episode because I was kind of so my experience with this is that my father received his vasectomy in his early 30s, but that was after 3 kids. So, I'm trying to think about it for my own perspective, and it's not something that I need, but how would I feel if I did?
Yeah.
One of the things that I read in terms of a lot of the commentary was this idea of being emasculated by having it happen.
I thought this was so interesting.
And so on one hand, I felt it, but only because I don't have kids. So I feel if you've proven that you're virile or whatever, and then you have it, it's okay, you're not so emasculated. But then not to have no kids and then do it. I don't know. It's just in my head, it was that seems very you're getting emasculated. But again, that is my own internal misogyny. I was that's not right. This is men need to be responsible and kind of take a hold of this if they can.
I mean, we're also in the middle of this weird moment for masculinity, where masculinity means a lot of weird things.
Yes.
But Denverite actually asked this question of the nurse practitioner at Jeffco, and her response was, there's a common misconception among men that it somehow decreases your manliness, it changes your testosterone levels, it decreases your ability to have an erection or have the same amount of pleasure from sexual activity. And she was that is uncategorically false.
Yeah.
But I appreciate your perspective because that's what I was wondering. I was do men really worry about this?
Yeah. So like I said, it was my first thought, but I walked myself out of it. With that said, I do have one question, and I'm so glad Justine is here. Because from my understanding, if a woman wants to get a hysterectomy, they will not allow that, or at least in some places, before she has children. Mm-hmm. So my question is, and on the flip side, is a man allowed to get a vasectomy before he has had kids, or is he allowed to just make that decision?
As far as I know, Justine, you go.
So in this case, it is you can make that decision, which also is something that came to my mind right away, because I know that this is a thing for many women. They will not sterilize you, or I don't know what the proper, because there's you have hysterectomy, which would be removing your entire uterus and everything. But yeah, there's multiple ways you get your tubes tied, and they will really be reluctant. And a lot of that has to do, too, when we go back to reproductive health and access, is because there are a lot of hospitals that are run by religious organizations,
Sure,
Catholic-based
yes.
hospitals, where that's part of their practice, and they want to make sure that they're not like preemptively stopping you from changing your mind. Maybe you're going to want to have a baby someday.
Right.
But I think a lot of people really are sure if they want to have kids or
For
not.
sure.
And so that is like a access issue that
Yes.
women can't, but men can go in and have a vasectomy at 21.
So I was very curious about that. 'cause
Yeah,
I was
it's
like,
really willy-nilly. You can walk in, walk out. Again, you can just pop in on a Friday with
Yeah.
your $800 and get. But I actually have a friend who documented her journey trying to get a hysterectomy before the age of 30 because she was like, I will never have kids. I don't want to have kids. And here's how hard it is for women to do this. And I'm also thinking about this funny story that my husband's family tells about his grandma because she was a teen mom. She had 2 kids before she was 18, I think, or maybe before she was 21. And this is lore, but this is also in the South, so I believe it. She had to go to her priest and ask for a permission note to get contraception because she didn't want to have any more kids because
Right.
she was already young.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is not uncommon, I think, Justine, at least in the way of like men are often brought into this conversation if a woman does have a partner,
Sure.
as if it's like something that also,
That is true. I've heard that from my grandmother and people in the past that you used to have to give permission from your husband
Mhm.
or from like some trusted male that you could have birth control
Which
because it
is-
was their decision whether or not you were done.
Isn't that it's so wild, but it really wasn't that long ago. And it's
No.
still kind of happening
Right.
with this issue where women want to do these preventative procedures as well.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was rewatching The Hills the other day, and Heidi really wanted to have babies. Like, she was baby crazy. Spencer, her husband, did not want to. And he went behind her back and went and got a consultation for a vasectomy.
Yeah.
And I was like, he didn't talk to her about it. He didn't ask her about
Right.
it.
Well, this happened to me. I
here we go.
was dating a guy and he had a secret vasectomy behind my back. He told me it was a hernia surgery and I like nursed him back to
No,
health.
you didn't. No,
Justine. Young,
Justine.
Justine.
So I was like younger than him and he was older and he had decided he didn't want to have kids, but he didn't want to tell me that because then he thought maybe like younger me would be like, well, then I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. But he went and had a secret vasectomy.
See, so that was the first thing that
Which-
popped up in my mind is like that, like I said, that internal misogyny that plays. It's like there is a disconnect there.
Like I didn't want to have, like that wasn't even on my mind.
yeah.
But it was just kind of the thought, like, couples should probably talk about this. Like, it's your freedom to decide
Yes.
you want to do that. But if you're like in a relationship with somebody, like men should probably, because there might be a lot of secret vasectomies going on.
Well, but there's a reason he
Never
didn't
know.
tell you.
Oh yeah, he had a reason because he didn't want me.
Yeah,
to
but what
break
if
up
she
with him.
got
But
10 years into that relationship and found out when she was trying to have a kid?
He admitted it. We went on a walk and he was like, I could have talked to you about something.
But that's my point is like it was him manipulating the entire thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, fair.
And so that's totally unfair.
The other thing
Yeah.
I worry about here is less condom use because there is this idea that like you just because you're shooting blanks, you don't have to worry about sexual health. No. In fact, the number one like spreaders of STDs are divorced men, like 40 and older, because they go back out into the world and like have a
yeah.
vasectomy or whatever already, and they're
Okay,
not worried
baby.
about it, and they're just like spreading STDs.
Oh my
I'm
God.
telling you.
So you got to still wrap it up because that is another public health issue.
Well, PrEP and DoxyPep.
Right.
Hello,
Yeah,
I'm your guy.
But I know, but also your community has long been on this train.
Yes, very true.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is not
Also, the
as
way
much
that
of a gay
you
man
are-
issue.
all the more reason we should get, heterosexual men on the train of reproductive justice and health.
Health, totally health
Thank
overall. They
you.
need
Yes.
it.
You know
I mean,
what?
I've been shamed by a man for having a condom. Like, I swear to God, this is the most
Get your
crazy thing.
dirty
I was
ass
like,
outta
do you
here.
have a condom?
Oh, girl.
They're like, no. I was like, well, I do. And they're like, oh, you have a condom? So you're like that kind of girl? I'm like, you don't have a condom, weirdo. You're just like walking around.
You're all me not wanting to get herpes. Sorry.
Then I was just like, okay, you need to. I've got to go home. Never mind.
Wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's a lot of things for men to learn here. I think this is a first great step
Yes.
in
Yes.
having more access.
Yes.
I love
and
it.
for people who want it. So it's important.
Access.
More healthcare access is always
Love it.
great.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that from having this discussion previously that we discussed that that men can make this choice. Like if it's a privilege, then maybe take the privilege because you're helping yourself and your partners in the long
And
run.
your community.
So,
I love it. That's a good place to end. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, our wins and fails of the week. This episode is brought to you by the University of Denver. The University of Denver is Denver's home for college sports. It's a place where championships aren't just victories, they're a tradition. This season, DU men's hockey captured its 11th national championship, more than any other college hockey program in history. 11 titles, 11 moments that are a reminder of what greatness feels like. But what makes these pioneers truly special doesn't stop at the final buzzer. DU student athletes are champions on and off the ice, balancing elite competition with academic excellence. In fact, the team posts an average GPA of 3.6, proving that discipline, teamwork, and drive translate everywhere they go. Because at the University of Denver, winning is about more than trophies. It's about standards. It's about values. From the classroom to the rink, DU sets the standard, and the nation is watching. So join us in celebrating the winningest college hockey program in history and a university where excellence is always the goal. That's the Denver difference. Learn more at denverpioneers.com. That's denverpioneers.com. Hi, Olivia.
Hey, Brie, what's up?
Well, I just want to talk to you about this cool new thing that we have that's just for CityCast Denver neighbors. We have something really exciting to share with you because we know you love Denver as much as we love Denver, but the other thing you love about Denver, which I know you do, is gossip. There's a lot of stuff that we realized we were leaving on the cutting room floor that was actually really fun and things we wanted to share with that we thought our audience might like, but it doesn't always fit into our regular programming.
So if you want to hear that and join the little chat, we've got a special new thing for neighbors only, where we are going to be rolling out a bonus segment at least once a week for neighbors only, where you get a special segment of us talking about something. But that's only one of the benefits you get from joining our membership program. Of course, it shows the kindness of your heart and supporting local journalism and our small team. We see each of your names and we get a little flutter in our hearts each time we see it. But you also get ad-free listening, invites to our member-only events, and then you're also getting a weekly preview of all the best events happening throughout the metro, sent right to your inbox every Monday.
So again, you can join us at membership.citycast.fm for just $10 a month. You get that extra content, or $100 a year if you want to save a little cash and pay for the whole year up front. And it's just for you if you become a member. All right, we're back. Time for our wins and fails of the week. Things that ruled, things that sucked. Just before we dig in, this is not a win or a fail. I just want to give a shout out. Our newsletter editor of the past 5 years, Peyton Garcia, who has been with CityCast from the jump. Her last day is today, Friday.
Aww.
And I'm trying not to cry right now. I love
her
Peyton
emails
so
in the
much.
morning.
Thank you. I think so many people really appreciate her personal voice. And she's been doing this again since we started. And so she's going to head on her way into the sunset for a little while, hang out with her little boys.
Aww.
She's got 2 little toddlers. They're so adorable, and she's just going to be a mom and hang out for the summer and then figure out what's next. And
enjoy, Peyton. That sounds wonderful.
Yeah, but I just wanted to give her a little shout out. She's my girl. All right, let's start with fails. Adrian, what's your fail?
My fail is because I'm like the beef reporter.
Yes.
Denver was planning to turn the old CDLE office in Cap Hill into affordable housing. That has since been delayed because the mayor and council are always beefing.
What? Okay, I have to just be honest. I love that building so much, but I also want affordable housing.
Yeah, right. And so to me, that was a fail because it's like every time we delay these kinds of things, like I just want my community housed.
Yes.
From what I read, Councilmember Gilmore was kind of like the one who made the resolution to postpone it.
Okay.
Because she doesn't trust the mayor and she doesn't feel like council members were included in the discussion, which is
an ongoing thread here between council, some members of city council and the mayor, that there's a lack of communication around big decisions.
Right. And so again, it's like that disconnect is like really making the community pay at the end of the day. So it's just a low and a fail for me, because like I just want my community housed.
Yeah, it's a struggle anytime this, and also this would be great. The city's invested. Let's get it going. We'll see what comes in the coming weeks. Justine, your fail.
My fail this week, in honor of 420 coming up on Monday.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, I forget a lot of things, but that's because I celebrate 420. The Washington Post had actually published a story that called Colorado's marijuana industry having a harsh come down. We went from a sales drop of $2.2 billion in 2021 to about $1.3 billion now. And the tax revenue for marijuana is down 44%. Dispensaries are closing. It's not looking good. But, I wanted to bring this up because with 420 coming, we have a concert at the park. But I really want to remind people that 420 used to be a protest. And it was a protest about marijuana equity and criminal justice reform.
Sure.
And there is still work to do. The reason why the marijuana industry is down here is because other states have legalized and people aren't coming in. There's no tourist industry, and we have not built a tourism industry where there's a place where people can legally consume, or there's lounges that aren't having huge fights and secret emails with the city.
Yeah.
And all of this weird stuff. So I think that, it's a fail for us as a state to not have thought through this better. And if we want to see the revenue from that, we are the first state to legalize.
Yeah.
We should be reaping more of the benefits of this and making it work for people. So,
But,
and get Brandon
go
Monkey
buy
out
some
of
weed.
prison
Go buy some
for
weed.
selling weed.
Go buy some weed from a dispensary that, if there are any still independently owned, that would be great, because it's one of those industries that consolidated pretty
Be
quickly.
choosy with where you spend your weed money.
I thought about weed today because while I was driving to work, I drove through Valverde, and you drive through Ready Foods where they're making like prepackaged meals. So it smells like pizza almost.
Okay.
And then I just hit a wall of a grow smell. It was a great combo, honestly. Little Ready Foods, a little weed. I know. I was like, I'm going to work, so that's not an option till after, but
I smell Purina and weed in my neighborhood.
That's a rough one.
But after smelling the weed long enough, the Purina doesn't smell bad. So.
My first thought, though, when I
That's
smell
me.
weed in public is who's not sharing. But that's just me, because I'm always like, really? How rude.
Exactly. Pass it.
Pass it.
Come on.
A pass.
I had to explain to my son the other day what a bong rip was without telling him what it was, because we were listening to Sublime, and he was like, "What is that?" And I was like, "It's water. It's someone slurping a drink." And he was like, "Oh, okay."
Okay.
And be like, "It's a bong rip, son." Fortunately, your dad keeps trying to bring a bong in the house, not for him, but just to have. And I'm like, "We're adults now. You're not allowed to have a bong."
A vase.
Yeah,
Hello?
no,
It's a
there,
vase.
no
Put
bong.
some flowers
No
in
bong.
it.
I kind of burned off my eyelashes with the bong incident the other day. But I was like, speaking of being adults, I'm like, oh, we're not supposed to have bongs in our...
It just feels tacky to me for some reason. I'm sorry.
No,
I will break-
I'm a hater.
I will break a bong, so just keep it away
It's
from
true.
me.
That's
Yes.
true.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
broke the last one I had. I knock everything over with my butt. I got big butts. I'm always like,
Oh my
knocking
God.
things over.
I
the
will knock it
kids,
over,
the
I
bong,
promise.
bumping into everything.
I'll do my fail really quick. It's sort of carrying on this Pearl conversation. The Merc space has been in sort of a weird place since Marilyn passed it off and sold it to Danny. Danny struggled with a lot of other things running this business too. It just like, it made me so... I saw a lot of lamenting on Facebook from my age group and older of what it meant to them. And I want to emphasize, nothing's been said about what's going to happen with the building. Danny has not said anything. So I think there's still hope. But I just was heartbroken because I have so many wonderful memories inside that space. It was so crucial to my life as an artist person and in the community. And just, I've been to so many amazing weddings there.
Oh, yeah.
I hosted a music festival and played it like in that space.
Aw.
It was so beautiful.
Swing dancing
Swing
classes,
dan- yeah.
that was like the thing to do if you were like
still going
90s
strong.
kid, yeah.
I'm actually meeting with my friend Kim tonight, who is part of that group, who's working on a documentary about the Merc. So, okay, let's do wins real quick. Justine, what's your win?
Okay, My win is Colorado's part of several states who just won a major antitrust case against Ticketmaster's parent company, Live Nation.
Yes.
A jury found that they had acted like an illegal monopoly, which was driving up ticket prices and fees. So if you're like, why are these tickets so crazy expensive after fees? There was a reason. So this is a big deal because now it opens up to a more competitive market. So there could be more ticket sellers for venues, and it maybe can bring down the cost. So they were looking at it was about like $1.97 per event. It's these certain events that they were overcharging people, but they're saying that now this is a huge win because it's really going to look at ticket sales.
Yeah.
As someone who's been like buying concert tickets since I was 13 years old.
Yeah.
And
since we going to the department store,
oh my
customer
God, used to get to go
service
stand
to
in the
buy my
customers at
tickets.
Foley's.
Yep. Sure did that.
Yep, bought tickets to go to many concerts at Foley's in line at Ticketmaster. But, I think this is something that people have wanted to talk about for a long time, especially a city like Denver, where we have a lot of
live
artists
music is
come
a
through.
huge business here.
Live music is huge. We have some of the best venues
Yeah.
in the world.
Yeah.
And we have major sports teams, too,
Yeah.
that all, are impacted
all
by this
kinds of
access.
events go through Ticketmaster. We're talking about theater events,
Yeah.
like special screenings, all kinds of things. And I agree, Justine. I was really excited to hear this because also a couple weeks ago, some of the emails were leaked between some of the higher ups at Live Nation, just talking about what idiots customers were. We could charge them whatever we want. These guys are, these people are suckers.
Yeah.
Yep, that part. I read that.
Oh my gosh.
No, you didn't. And like, I want my $1.97 now back, punk. Like, yeah, they were like, people are idiots. They'll pay anything.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
It
was pretty rough.
These people are idiots.
Well, but like truthfully, to play devil's advocate, they're true because there's some artists that have fans that are like, I will pay whatever it takes, and so
Yeah,
but it bums
crazy
me out
money
for
to
like
see
kids
people.
and
Yeah.
people that don't have that kind of expendable income. Like,
right.
I was tell the story. I paid $27 to see the Smashing Pumpkins at like the height of their success
Wow.
at McNichols Arena. $27.
Yeah.
and that was
Wow.
like a huge ticket price at that time. But okay, I'm gonna piggyback my win a little bit here with you just because it's about music. Lucifer's First Rodeo dropped their second lineup. And not only did this include a bunch more local acts, it included a bunch more businesses that are participating. And it's not just venues. It's stores and restaurants that are hosting pop-ups. Like the South Broadway community is stoked that this is happening. And that made me so happy because, UMS has moved to Rhino. This is happening on South Broadway. And I actually had lunch a couple weeks ago with Jillian and Mike, who are the musicians who came up with this whole idea.
Mm-hmm.
And their hearts are so in this. And they just moved here. Both of them just moved here a couple years ago. And they immediately just dug right into the scene. They had artists started doing like backyard events and things together to bring people in the music scene together. And I was like, this is what makes our creative community so cool is people you don't have to be from here.
Yeah.
You don't. It's cool if you are because you've seen a lot of things come through and you have a lot of like relationships and thoughts about these spaces. But when new folks come in and they're like, oh my God, I want to not only uplift this, I want to add to it. I'm just so stoked for Lucifer's First Rodeo. I think they're doing a great job. I'm excited to see how it all goes down. Adrian, take us out.
Yes. So my positive thing for the week is that Recess Beer Garden has announced that they're opening up a second location.
Oh, nice.
So like, in the midst of this discussion about everything that's closing down, it's good to see that like, some businesses are making it work and expanding, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And beer gardens are, I don't even drink and I have a good time.
I don't drink beer at all. So I'm so happy for the beer community that this is happening because I'm more of a shot guy. Like beer
You just
is
get
not
straight
it
to
for
the
me.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me a shot, please.
My partner doesn't drink at all. And he was like, we need to start having like ice cream also at the beer garden. So I can have like, we can have ice
second that.
cream and you can drink your beer. And I'm like, oh, so more ice cream spots as well as brews together.
I love it. And also just like a nice outdoor space, like a place you can meet up casually with people. Like a lot of them, it's okay to have kids there. So it's not super weird, but it's outside. So there's space for these kids. And like, I just love that. That's really a great story.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. One last time before we go. Sign up to be a member. Be a CityCast Denver neighbor today. Membership.citycast.fm. Again, $10 a month, $100 a year. I touted so many of the benefits. Again, I will go back to our bonus content. If you want to hear more from these two, some maybe after dark thoughts, some things that don't make it to the main feed, you can only get that if you are a CityCast Denver neighbor. Membership.citycast.fm. Join us today. Adrian, Justine, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Join CityCast, gang.
That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. Our producers this week were Paul Caroli, Olivia Jewel Love, and Adrian Gonzalez. Peyton Garcia writes our morning newsletter. I'm Bree Davies, your host. Abby Madigan runs our social media. We record at Dude IDK Studios. Our music is by Los Mocachetes with additional mixing by Tyler Lindgren. Our ad music is by Cuba Quartet from Epidemic Sounds via Getty Images. If you haven't already, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at CityCast Denver, and tell the Jefferson County Public Health Department about us next time you see them. And thanks to our new neighbors, Chad M. and John K., who just joined our membership program. You can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Denver neighbor today at membership.citycast.fm. You can sign up for our daily newsletter and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. See you next week.